Hi, I'm going to give you a demo and a tutorial for our new deal pipeline, which you can find over here on the left navigation when you click on deals. Now, you'll start with a default pipeline, which you can change, customize, change the colors. You can have multiple pipelines. You can create as many pipelines as you want. And these are just pipelines consist of stages, like leads and then qualified, demo scheduled, right? These are different stages in the pipeline. And these cards are what we call deals. Some systems may call them opportunities, right? So you create a deal and you can move that deal from stage to stage throughout your sales process or whatever pipeline that you set up. And typically deals will end up, or opportunities will end up either in a won or a lost column. And you can see our headers here at the top will track the total. You can define monetary values, right? And they'll track the total amount of deals, the amount of open, the value of the open deals, the value of the won and the lost. So you can see at a high level immediately, what you have in your pipeline. Now, to start, you can just go under action here and you can create a new deal. Now, that starts with a contact. Every deal has to have a contact, so you first need to create a contact for this deal if you don't already have one. But I can search for somebody like this fictitious person, Sue, right? So now it's assigned Sue to the contact, and it names the deal new lead, Sue, but you can change it to be whatever you want. You can specify a company. Here's where you specify the amount. So maybe I want, or I know that this deal is for $500. You could specify a due date. Maybe I want, 2 weeks from now. And when you do this, it'll automatically set a to-do alert for the deal, and it will remind you when it's due, when it's past due. It'll also show up in your alerts over here in the upper right-hand corner. And you can see, you can specify the source of the deal, and you can customize these sources as well. And you can assign owners. So owners are, by default, it will default to you. But if you have teammates in your account, on your account, then you could specify a teammate as an owner of the deal. You can also, instead of moving the deal, you can just change the deal stage right here and hit save. So just to show you, if I hit save, boom, it has created right here, Sue, right? And if I move Sue, right, I can do this. Now, if I want to edit Sue, the Sue deal, I just click on it. And to explain, at the top up here, we have text. If you want to text Sue, you just click this. It'll open up the inbox of your inbox text messages. If you want to email, you click this, ringless voicemail. If you want to book an appointment or on your calendar, you click this. It'll open up the calendar feature. Now, we also have these tabs here. You have custom fields. So you can set up custom fields that I'll show you in a bit, but you can create as many custom fields as you want, and those custom fields can be configured to show on the card on the stages if you want. You have a place for notes. Here's your to-do actions, your alerts that you can set up related to this deal. You can, to add an alert or a to-do, you just type here. You can specify, a color group that's arbitrary and up to you what those colors mean. You could specify a due date and a time, and you just click add to do, and it'll add it down here. You can see that we already have one because we assigned a due date on the deal. Tags. So you can create, you can create tags, or you can select tags that you already have. Now, if I wanted to create a tag, maybe VIP, maybe do I already have VIP? Let me create a VIP2. I just hit enter, and now I have a tag of VIP2. And activity, it'll track the activity of when it was moved from state to state. Okay, so you can see we started in this state at 10:06, and then we moved it to qualified at the same time immediately. So and then you of course you have the details, and one other thing is you have the ability to archive it, and if you archive it, the deal will disappear from these stages and it will move over to an archive list that you can still see. The other option is permanently delete. I would say only permanently delete if the deal was invalid or whatever. But you'd typically want to archive deals, hopefully after you move them to either the won or the loss. But you could have an abandoned deal which you just want to archive as well. And then you can hit the update to update any changes. Now, under the action button, you'll have card properties where you can select what you want to see or to be visible on the card. You can see I'm showing tags and priorities and due dates, but that's customizable. You can also, if you don't like this Canva view, you can switch to a table view, and you can see things are just in the table, and you can still edit the deals, and you can move them by selecting the deal stage and move them. But I like the Canva view the best. I think that is the, visually it shows you what you're looking for the easiest. You also have the ability to export all of your deals. So if you just want to export them into a CSV and import them into an Excel and manipulate them or do whatever you want, you can. Now, if you want to manage your pipelines, create new pipelines, you go here. You can see I have, by default, you'll be given the customer acquisition, but you can create other ones. If I could rename it, I could clone it, so maybe you customized it to the way you want and you just want to clone it and create a new one. If I want to manage the stages, I can do that here. I could set it as the default. So you can see this one is the default. So that's the one that shows when I click on the deals by default. And I could delete it. So if I want to manage the stages, I click here. That'll take me to the manage stages. So if I wanted to add a stage, I can type it here, hit add. It'll appear down at the bottom. But you can see you can move deals around, stages around. You can edit them. You can set colors for them. You can see if they're, you can see the status here. They're active. This is the won stage. This is the lost stage. You may not name it lost, right? It may not be named closed lost. Maybe you named it, I suck. And then, the status is lost, right? So that tells the system that this means that the deal is closed and lost. You can assign workflows. So if, when you move a deal into scheduled demo, for example, it can trigger a workflow that automatically sends emails, text messages, ringless voicemails, reminding people of their upcoming, scheduled demo or whatever you want to say in the workflow. You can assign colors. By default, there's no color, so it's just white. You can see how many deals are in each pipeline. But just to show you, like if I click on this one and I click on edit details, you can see you can name it. Here's your status. So, any like active, most should be active, except for the last, the final stages should be won or lost. If you set it to inactive down here, that means that the stage won't be visible on the pipeline, but it still exists. Workflow. So basically you can select from all of your workflows which one that you want to assign. So when a deal gets moved in, it automatically triggers this workflow. You can also check this box that says that you want to remove the contact from this workflow if you move the deal from the stage. You may want to just leave the contact in the workflow so that they complete the workflow, or if you check this box, that will stop the workflow for that contact. Now, if you moved the deal back into the stage, maybe you moved it to pending, but then they didn't respond, so you move it back into the stage, that'll just continue the workflow where it left off, just like if you added a contact to a list that had a workflow. Same deal. You can also set a pipeline assignment, a pipeline stage assignment, which is a list. It'll show you all of your lists. So if a contact gets added to a list, maybe you have a web form, a lead gen form, from a keyword, or maybe you're just manually adding people to a list, that can automatically create a deal in this stage. So typically, you probably don't want both of these because they're redundant. So typically you would just have, you could leave this blank, right? Like if you're creating deals manually, then you would leave this blank. You wouldn't need it. Here's how you assign the colors. Clear the color. You can even have optional colors if you click this. Custom colors. You can define custom colors or color codes if you don't like these muted colors. And of course you can save it and cancel it. So we can go back to the pipeline, or I'm going to go back to the deal board. Let's see, we did manage pipelines. Also, just to let you know, a quick shortcut is if you click here, it takes you right to the deal, the stage details. It's just a shortcut so you don't have to go through the pipeline. Now back to here. If we wanted to see any archived, we can click Managed Archives, and you'll see these in a table. You could edit them and unarchive them if I wanted to. I could set, I could click here to unarchive it. I could set, instead of lost, maybe I want to switch it back to, a qualified or something else, right? Maybe they came back, they decided, no, I do want this deal after all. So you can essentially unarchive deals. Source. So by default, we give you all of these sources, commonly used sources for where you found the lead, or where you received who you received the lead from your website, from a referral, organic search, etc. You can define new ones by adding them. You can edit or delete any existing ones. So you can customize your sources, which you'll find in your deals. Here's where you're going to set up custom fields. So you can define a name for a custom field. You can choose to map it to a custom 1, 2, or 3 in a contact record or not. The advantage of mapping them to a custom field is then they can be inserted dynamically through like a merge field into text messages and emails. So if you just want a field like loss reason, for example, you can see it's not mapped to a custom field for the contact. This is just a custom field related to this deal, and that's all. And you can specify the maximum length up to 200 characters or 100 characters for a custom contact field. Let's see, reports. Now these are, pretty amazing as far as the details that they give you. So, just looking at the deal board, you get the high level summaries, or you get the amount that are currently in each stage, but you can look over time, month, quarter, year, custom dates. And, this gives you a complete picture of how many that you have in the different stages and how long deals are staying in stages and what is the value of the different stages and the won versus loss and the won rate. Here's your stage distribution, deals by source, right? If you want to see, and here's, the average time that a deal takes in different stages. So hopefully this will give you a good picture of your sales process and how well you're doing with your sales process. So that is basically it. I think we've covered everything. If you wanted to, obviously to delete a stage, you can just click here. If you wanted to, like I said, if you want to delete a pipeline, you can go to pipeline. If you want to delete a deal, you can go here, but I recommend archiving instead of deleting. So hopefully it's pretty intuitive. I would say, if you're, loading up, if you have workflows and, you're just loading up a ton of leads, you don't necessarily want those to go through a sales pipeline. You only want it to go through a sales pipeline if they're interested, right? So like maybe you have 1,000 customers. Well, you don't want to stick all 1,000 customers in this. It would just, you wouldn't, it would be too confusing, too much to try to look at these cards for 1,000 customers. You only want to put people into, drop them into a stage, the first stage, if they're interested in the deal, right? So if they're a true lead, if they're truly qualified, that way you're only managing people who have responded to your initial workflow messages. And then if they respond and they're interested and you qualify them, right, then you add them as a deal and maybe stop that workflow, that lead gen workflow that they were in. And then you put them into this pipeline workflow of or stages of workflows. So that's the way I would recommend using it. If you have any questions or any issues, problems, suggestions, feel free to reach out to me, Greg at TextP2P. Thank you very much.